Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can use foil on acetate to create a really beautiful shaker card with no heat needed. I'm going to be using the Wow Teal Fab foil today, and I'm going to be using it with this gorgeous butterfly stamp from Indigoblu. This is a red rubber stamp. It's mounted so it easily attaches to your acrylic blocks or your stamping platform. I'm using this acrylic block from Indigoblu today. I'm really enjoying using these at the moment. They're really thin, you get really good stamped images, and it's very ergonomic, so it's easy to hold. I've already gone ahead and cut out my mats and layers using this die set from Craft Stash. This is the Creative Craft range of nested dies, and I've cut out a matte layer of the blue cardstock using the third from the largest die. I've then gone ahead and cut a piece of holographic cardstock from the fourth from the largest die, and then I've also got a piece of acetate using the same die as well for that. To create the frame, I've used the fourth from the largest and the fifth from the largest dies, and then I've gone ahead and embossed the holographic cardstock using this gorgeous script embossing folder. It just really added a little bit of extra interest to what's going to be our background today. So to get the foiled look on acetate, we're going to need to use a tacky glue, and I've got the FlitterGlu from Indigoblu. I absolutely love this product, and I'm going to add some to this piece of foam. I'm going to rub it in with my palette knife, and that is basically going to create the ink pad that we're going to use to stamp our image with today. So I'm just going to push that all into the sponge using the palette knife. You just want to try and make sure the sponge absorbs it all. You don't want any lumps or blobs of glue left on the foam. And once that's all absorbed, we're then able to just use it in the same way that you'd use an ink pad all over the stamped image. Now you can do this with any stamp that you've got, whether it's a clear stamp, a rubber stamp, it doesn't matter. This technique will work on any stamp that you've got in your stash, which means that whatever you've already got, you'll be able to foil with it. And so that's the really exciting part of this technique. Whatever you've got in your stash, you'll be able to foil. So once I've added some glue, I've just used half of the butterfly there. You can just about make out the white creamy glue on the stamp. And I'm just going to work out where I want to stamp the image on my acetate. You will be able to see where you've stamped, so that does allow for easy placement of your images. So I'm just going to ink the butterfly up again. I'm going to do this 3 times. Now it's a tacky glue. I've got a piece of scrap paper underneath my acetate so I don't get glue all over my desk. And if you've ever stamped on acetate before, you'll know it's really slippy. So you just want to make sure that when you place your stamp down, it doesn't shift and slide around. So you can see the image there on the acetate, and you can see it's a little bit creamy still, so it's not quite dry yet. I have used heat resistant acetate today. That's what I've got in my stash at the moment. You don't need heat resistant acetate for this at all, but because it is heat resistant, I'm able just to give it a light heat all over just to dry the tacky glue. You don't need to do this. You can simply leave it to one side to dry, and as soon as it's clear, you know it's good to go. So I've just took out the teal coloured fab foil. This is a product from Wow Embossing Powder, and I'm just using my scissors just to cut that little strip off. And then all I'm going to do is place it all over the acetate and run it over with your fingers. Now I've tried to get this as smooth as possible. It's not very smooth, but it doesn't affect the image today at all. As you can see as I'm peeling it back, it has got some transfer, but it's not completely foiled the image. Now, this is where it really helps if you've got a die cutting machine. It's not essential for this technique because you can just keep applying pressure with your fingers, but this really sped up the process today. I've got fresh cutting plates, so it's not going to leave any marks on my acetate. That's very important. You don't want your acetate to end up with any kind of embossed lines in it. So these are both brand new cutting plates that I've got in my stash. If you want to add a bit more pressure, just add a little bit of an extra shim. So I've just got a cut out from a cereal box, and it just adds a bit more pressure. And now you can see that beautiful foiled image on the acetate. It really is stunning when you peel off the foil and have a look at it. The shimmer, the shine. So you've got that gorgeous foiled look without the need for any machines, without the need for heat. Just a bit of pressure from your fingers or your die cutting machine, and there you get the perfect foiled image. And of course you've got the excess foil, so don't throw that away. There's plenty of foil left on there to be used. So I'm going to use that acetate as a window for a shaker card, and so I'm just adding some red line tape all the way around the frame that I created earlier. So I'm just using my long bladed scissors just to trim off the tape. I don't know about you, but I always find myself getting a bit of a tangle when I'm adding tape. But red line tape really is a great way of holding acetate in place. It's nice and strong and you know it's going to hold well. You can of course use liquid glue if you'd prefer, but sometimes it's just easier because if you get any glue on the acetate it can be a little bit messy to try and get it off. I'm just trimming off a little bit of excess acetate that's overhanging the frame here. So I've just trimmed that off by going underneath, and then I'm able just to add some thin foam tape all the way around the back of the frame now as well. This foam tape is by far my favourite foam tape. It's from Alina Crafts. The link will be in the description box below. But it's just brilliant foam tape. It just holds really well and the backing tape is really easy to remove as well. I'm just using my anti-static powder bag here on the acetate and just going around the frame, and then I'm just wiping off some of the powder with a little bit of tissue. So I'll pop that to one side for a moment, and I'm just going to glue these two matte layers together. I'm just using some quick grab glue. I'm currently using Cosmic Shimmer. I do really like the Nuvo Deluxe glue, but I wasn't able to get any at the time when I really needed to get some glue, so I've popped some Cosmic Shimmer in that small bottle, and of course it is a really good glue. It's just the bottle that it comes in really annoys me, so I have decanted it into these fine tip bottles, which are great. I'm working on a 5x7 card blank, so all I've done is just trimmed it down to size. So sometimes if you've got a card blank in your stash that's not quite the right size, you might be able to just trim it down like I've done today, and I just find that works really well. I'm using some gems from Lucy's shop. This is the Spring Fields mix. I have a little bit of that left, so I've just used that for my shaker card today, and I'm going to add a few extra iridescent and white sequins as well. So I'm just going to remove the release tape from the foam tape here and add a little bit of liquid glue so that we've got some wiggle room, and then you'll be able to hear the lovely shaker sound. So as you can see, that shakes really nicely. So for a sentiment, I'm going to use the Making Memories stamp set from Funky Fossil Designs. I'm going to use the sentiment that says "You are beautiful," and I'm just going to pull out a scrap of white cardstock to stamp the sentiment on. I'm just going to use some VersaFine Onyx black ink. Now, of course, if you wanted that to be shiny, you could heat emboss it as well in clear, but today I'm just going to stamp it out. I'm just going to use my mini Tim Holtz trimmer just to trim it down, and then I'm trying to work out placement, and I do decide that I'm just going to add a little banner to the edge of it. So I'm just using my cutter bee scissors here. I'm just snipping in the middle and then snipping the two diagonal sides so that you get that really nice flag shape, and then I'm just going to decide where I want to place that. I do decide to go with the bottom left hand corner, and I'm just going to add some red line tape to the back of that just to hold it in place because we are attaching it to acetate. So I'm going to add some glue as well, but the red line tape will just hold it in place while the glue dries as well. So it's just a good little way of keeping something in place on acetate where the glue's a little bit slippy. I've got some pearlescent flatback pearls from Alina Crafts, and I'm just going to add a few of those over the front of the shaker card window, just to add a little bit of extra interest on the card panel. And then that is the finished card for today. So I really hope that you've enjoyed seeing this tutorial of how you can get foil on acetate without the need for any kind of machine and no heat. And let me know in the comments below if you've tried this or if it's something you're thinking of giving a go. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. As always, if you enjoy my content, please don't forget to give me a like. And if you'd like to see more from my channel, then please consider subscribing. I really would appreciate it. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.